I actually interviewed you a couple of months ago. I don't expect you to remember it because you do like 80 interviews in a morning radio call, you know what I mean? But this might make you remember it. I went to NAU, Northern Arizona University, and you told me the ghost story about Monte Vista.
I absolutely remember that.
Do you?
Yeah, and I was in an airport in Montreal.
Something like yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember that.
One of the things that has been interesting is since that phone call, I've been like, I gotta get back to Flagstaff. Like I just have to, I have to go back to Flagstaff because Nate Ruess told me to. And one of the things I want to talk to you about was, has this solo kind of project or solo pivot, if you will, is there a chance of it taking you back to venues like places like in Flagstaff and stuff like that you can get super intimate like you did today?
Yeah, I mean, actually, that's a really good question, by the way.
Thank you.
But I look at that stuff. I look at those were like the that's how I cut my teeth. I mean, I think I spent more years playing in venues that were more so like not necessarily like super super tiny, but were of an intimate size where you could still get a vibe from the crowd. I look at like even Van Morrison, for as magical as his career has been, he still kind of plays like venues that are a little bit smaller because at the end of the day, I think it to me what matters the most is making sure that you have the people who care the most inside the venue. So, yeah, I love any venue as long as it's full of people. And I'm never like, oh man, we should have gone bigger, we should have done this, we should have done that. I would just always prefer to play a place where people can see you, because nowadays, like when artists play, it's like they've got all these crazy screens and they've got all this stuff, and we were doing that towards the end of Fun, and I think all of us were kind of just like what a drag. Like people don't get to see the whole entire show. Because I know I'm guilty of going to a show and then if it's got a screen, like watching the screen the whole entire time.
Right.
But when you go to a venue like the Orpheum in Flagstaff, and you just get to watch the show, and it's not all about the production and all that other type of stuff, I mean, that's so much more meaningful. And as an artist, as the songs that I write and stuff like that, I do believe that like that's what I want to convey. So I would be happy spending the rest of my life playing shows like that.
When we talked last, you said there's something about that you're happy, and if you're willing to be happy, you have to be willing to be sad, and you're on this kind of this journey is more than whatever you want to read in TMZ or Billboard magazine or whatever it is. This is a really personal journey for you. And since then, can you tell me a little bit about how it's been for you?
It's been amazing. At the same time, it's been. It's literally when I started this, I had no idea what to expect.
There were no assumptions going in?
There are always assumptions. You always like take yourself. I just knew that over the last 15 years, I had accumulated a lot of people that connected to my music, and I think I feel as though I connected to them from that. And it didn't have to be in the last 4 years when it was all great. It was just like over time. I've started over before. I was in a band called The Format,
which I listened to.
Thank you.
When it was a thing.
Yeah, things were going really well, and then next thing you know, we stopped, and then so I started Fun, and things went really really well, and I was just like, you know what, like I really want to go back to the heart of the matter and like find the people that. I mean, you want your music to be truly gotten by everybody. It was an amazing thing. The Pink song was a great example of that. Just seeing people come up to me from all walks of life and just talking about what that song meant to them. But at the same time, there's just something special about the people that have been there since the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And when I make music, when I write an album, I just happen to have written an album in some nights that just like caught the world off guard and did what it did, and I'm very proud of that. But I'm not going to change the way that I write in order to cater to that. So I was very proud of Grand Romantic. I mean, I think other than Dog Problems by The Format, I mean it's it's the same type of thing where it's like this. it's like such a personal album where it feels like my baby. So for me, I just want the people that are going to connect to that. It doesn't have to be everybody. It just has to be people who understand that. And fortunately, over the years in playing all these shows, doing these solo things and stuff like that, I run into so many people. More people stop me to talk about like what the format meant to them than anything. And to me, that's just awesome, because I remember really just like starting to write music and really like figuring out what it meant to me to be a songwriter.
I'm going to impose my worldview on you for a second and see how you react to it.
Let's do this.
I'm a bit angsty about media in general. I think that, this is me saying this, by the way, not Nate Ruess. I think that things like the culture created around things like the Kardashians and Bentleys and diamonds and stuff is damaging to a certain level. And I just want to know, because I'm really interested in the way live music is different than that. The way live music seems to be more real and more infectious, but it doesn't get all the credit it deserves on a national level. So, because the people who get the credit on the national level are the people who are riding around in Bentleys and appearing on TMZ. So, my worldview is out there now. How do you relate to that, and what are kind of some of your feelings on that? Or do you even think about stuff like that?
Well, I mean, I try not to. I try to just let everybody just do their own thing and keep a low opinion. But personally speaking, it just doesn't interest me at all. It has no bearance on the way that I think or the way that I feel. Sometimes I feel like disheartened, but at the same time, I don't want to be like the guy who's like, "When back in my day, things were like this." So I just try and roll with the punches and realize like, okay, well that's for you, but that's not for me. And that kind of whatever that where we're shifting as a culture is doesn't mean I'm going to go move to the woods, but there's a chance that I might go move to the woods.
Right, that's fair. All right, this is Nate Ruess. I'm Brad, and you should listen to Click 98.9 to grab his new song.